pollen. They just started bringing in the pollen. See on the legs?
Yep.
That's the dark, good pollen.
Hey, welcome here. Thanks for joining me today. If this week hasn't been busy enough with all the garden prep for the community garden and all that kind of stuff going on, cooking maple syrup and everything, we are getting ready for bees. And I'm going over to Hannes's house today. If you remember, I was at his place a few weeks back when he had brought the bees out onto the yard, and now we've taken them out into the field. So he's going to take me on a tour through the hives right now, and we're going to see how things are going. So thanks for joining me at Scatters Homestead. I hope you enjoy this time.
Pollen. They just started bringing in the pollen. See on the legs?
Yep.
That's the dark, good pollen. And there is different pollens. You see it. You look here. There's the most traffic on this hive. You just wait.
I can see him bringing it in. Yep.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
But there's different pollen. See, that's not as dark of pollen. The other one is darker.
Okay.
So there is different pollen they are going to bring in.
Okay.
And there's also orange pollen. I have not seen it. My neighbor texted me. He has seen it, orange pollen. So there's different pollens coming in.
What would the orange pollen be?
Why? Okay, you ask somebody who knows more than I do. There's different pollens, but pollen is always the best, eh?
Yeah.
So pollens are always the best. When we feed by hand, that stuff, it helps, but it's not pollen.
Great.
It's just not pollen.
So right now we're still just growing the hive because she's brooding inside. The queen is brooding inside.
Okay, here is my just. That's not scientific what I'm telling you.
That's
but
good.
I
like
it's the way I'm thinking it is.
Yeah.
If you feed those protein patties, they start brooding and doing things. But they are not stupid. It's in the hive itself. But I always, and it has to do with temperature and everything. Whenever the temperature turns warm enough, and the flowers, the trees started to flower, and then they go after, the pollen. That's when they bring the extra stuff in. Like that's when they get the optimism that things turning around here.
Okay.
Now. Yeah. And so that's when they really start going in high gear. And I have seen the first, like where you are, lighter soil. You have a little lighter soil there, right?
Yeah.
I would bet those bees would have brought in pollen 3 days earlier than it is here.
Is that right?
Heavy gamble. Yes.
Okay.
I'm almost sure. That's my guess.
So are you feeding the protein patties still? Like how many patties have you done per box, let's say?
What? You will see that. There's 2 hives that were very small last year.
Yeah.
Late swarms or whatever. And they have not nearly exploded at all, and those are we are going to check first.
Okay.
And then the other 5 are strong.
Yeah.
And I bet I opened 2. I think I opened 2 yesterday, and the patties I put on. When was that? I texted you.
Okay. Yeah. That was in the snow. In the snow.
Was maybe a week ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Not
when we had that snow. That's when he texted me.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, so I put patties on.
Right.
I think I put patties on not more than 10 days ago.
Yeah.
2 patties, 2 pounds.
Okay.
Gone.
Really?
Gone.
Wow.
So I think put it aside, and then we go quickly into the 2 hives in the smaller one, and then we check.
Okay.
And I tell you why we check those first. So what I think I'm going to do is this. My gut feeling tells me that I have 5 very good hives, strong hives,
yeah,
and 2 smaller ones because they were late swarms. And I think I would start equalizing to get give the smaller ones a boost and cut down on the stronger ones.
So equalizing meaning taking some.
It's like litters. You take if one has 14 and one has 9.
Taking some pigs off.
You're taking some off and moving it around.
Okay.
That's what we do. and then it's equalizing. So it gives the new queen, the new hive, which is weaker, more optimism, and she can lay more. The queen could lay more, but she can't because the bees could not support it. So they can support more. And so I would bet, I'm not sure, nobody knows, but I would bet that swarming is a natural process. A natural process in a way that the old queen leaves and finds a new home, and in the hives you have a new queen. So swarming is not necessarily bad. It's just that you lose half your soldiers, and then because we want to have the honey, this is why it's bad. But it's not bad for the hive itself. Swarming. So what you can do is, there's different ways what you can do. But what you can do is you can take out of, let's say you have 3 nice hives, you take from each one you take 1 or 2 frames out, and you buy a queen. You go to Dancing Bees or to the other bee outlet in Winnipeg, and then you buy a queen and you put that queen in, and then
into 2 or 3 frames.
Then you have basically a nuke. If you take 2 out, and then you slow down the other ones so that they wouldn't swarm, but you start something new in case one day something dies. You have 4, and then if something dies, you're back to 3. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Or you can wait till a local beekeeper makes some queens. They are a little later, and those queens, if that's the problem. If you go with a local beekeeper, they are getting later, and then you maybe don't get a big harvest out of those hives. This is why people go to those places like Dancing Bees or BeeMate, and then they buy a queen, and they are coming from California. They are coming from Ukraine, actually.
Okay.
They are earlier than we are. They are coming from Chile or whatever, or Hawaii, and they are mated, and then it's almost seamless. So then you get a bigger crop, but you also get a queen that was not born here, and maybe it's not adapted to the climate very well. I'm not sure about the Ukrainian queen there. They are maybe a bit better. Some beekeepers have very good luck. There's a lot of professional beekeepers. They swear that's the best, and there is others they use a different breed.
So why not a Manitoba bee?
A Manitoba bee would be, in theory, I would guess, it's probably the best bee because it's acclimatized here.
Yeah.
But by the time, if we open it up, you would see that there's no drones. Well, why is there no drones? Because, well, the bees are just not there, and you cannot have a queen that's not mated and no drones. So, in essence, it's a short season here, and this is why we import bees from other places.
It's phenomenal how many they're all coming in with pollen, eh?
They are all coming in with pollen, and you see.
I saw some looks almost like orange there.
I noticed the weaker 2 hives because I didn't have that bottom screen board on them, on those, eh?
Okay.
And they are not weaker because they are just weaker because they were swarms last fall and they didn't have the time to build up. I think I even put some new frames in it, so they hadn't time to fill them up. But they made it over the winter. But they are not nearly as strong. So I think first thing we are going to do, we are diving into the weak hives. Just see if there is even a queen there, and if there is even brood there, and then before we make any decisions, we start on the weak hive, and then we go from the strong ones. And if the weak hives have queens in them, and if they look viable or whatever, then we take a frame out from the weak ones, and steal a good frame on the strong ones, and flip it over, and we go from there.
Okay.
And put an empty frame in there, so those guys have time to. You artificially weaken them.
Okay.